Hi, my name is Daphne, and today I just wanted to show you guys the garden. I did do a few updates with the garden. I removed some fencing, or I removed some things that were no longer working for me to expand my herb garden. So removed some barrier fencing, removed the mulberries from off the tarp. So I did a lot of weeding, a lot of just chopping down of a lot of the herbs. I had to take the lemon balm today because if I did not take the lemon balm and wash it and dry it, it was going to go to flower. And once lemon balm flowers, it starts to taste like soap. It smells like soap, it tastes like soap. So had to cut down some of the herbs. Really good day just for garden prep. You know, just for the stuff that not everybody likes to do with the garden in terms of like weeding and, you know, like trimming down like hedges and removing some barriers and erecting some structures. No one really likes doing that. At least I don't. But it is garden maintenance, and it's something that is necessary in order for me to actually like being out here in the yard without seeing like 8 million issues. So did a lot of that today, so I wanted to show you guys just some minor improvements. But on the plus side, we have some flowers coming in. So I have one echinacea flower, which is just wonderful because I love them. For some reason, I am letting the what is it called? I am letting the leeks. I'm letting the leeks go to seed because I want the seeds. I don't want the plants, but I want the seeds from some future garden bed space where I'll just have them all together. But the flowers are so beautiful. They look like little puff balls, and they're purple. So I want to show you guys those as well. We do have some of our yarrow coming in. The borage has exploded. It really does kind of like this cold temperature we're having at this point. Quite beautiful. So the borage flowers have come in. The rudbeckia is starting to come in. It's just really beautiful, nice fall day in June. That's how it feels. It feels like a fall day in June. But I like the weather because you get a lot of stuff done when it's not sweltering heat and the bugs are attacking your face. So let me show you guys the beautifulness of this garden space. I want to show you guys my asparagus section because I never really showed it because I needed to do some minor improvements with it. So primarily, I needed to erect a little fence line here, which was just something I had laying around the garage. And I kind of put in a door. I don't know if you guys can see this. Made out of some used fencing from the area that I took down and like a little tomato post that I don't use for tomatoes because it sucks. But erected a little doorway because I had a neighborhood cat or my cat kind of like using this as a litter box, and that wasn't acceptable. So I had to replace all of the bedding. And now I just erected some chicken netting to go around it to keep the little kitties out, and I actually appreciate the space now. So if you did not know, if you do not prune asparagus, it can get up to 6-7 feet tall, I guess. This area was actually covered with asparagus beetles and all types of weirdness, but the wasps and the birds have been very diligent in like removing the bugs from my asparagus, which I'm thoroughly thankful for. And in a little while, they'll probably be producing berries like they did last year. But let's just take a moment to appreciate how thick these things are. I mean, they're huge. There's even one back here that is actually ready to be cut. This one. And this is probably the size that you would actually, this is probably how you would want to take them. But I'm going to actually let those sit for this year, and I'll probably just start taking some of the larger ones next year. Most of these are babies. There's a few actually coming in on this side. I might purchase some more crowns to fill in some minor spaces. Sorry, my allergies are crazy. But the asparagus bed is doing really well. So I'm really proud of that. And then we just close it up. And the only time I actually go into this space is if I need to add more leaves, or if I just need to add some type of fertilizer, which I don't. But like comfrey tea or 511, if I want to do that, then I'll open that up. But I love my asparagus bed, and it was made with stuff I had lying around the house. I mean, lying around the garage, so that was perfect. And then over here, also ignore my bench. This actually was a wooden chair that kind of decomposed, but the frame is still perfect. So now we use it as a bench. But I did put down some cardboard here. It will last about a season, but it'll give it enough time to kill some of the weeds. And then we do have, on the other side, we do have our sun sugar cherry, which I actually took a lot of the suckers from off the sides and just put some clamps in it to hold it up, especially because we're getting a lot of wind these days. We have our mullein that was saved from seed, which is starting to bounce back. It actually looks like a mullein now. These leaves were damaged here. We have our white sage, our self-heal, which is a really weird plant to grow, to actually be trying to let grow, considering I have a lot of it just growing around the yard, and I did not recognize it until I started growing it from seed. I could have just dug it up. But it is a good practice that if you don't recognize some of the herbs in the wild, to actually purchase the seeds or purchase a plant start, because if you can identify it from the actual nursery plant or the seeds that you're germinating, then you can probably identify it in the wild as well. That's actually how I started to identify yarrow. So be careful with herbs, but if you're not sure, just buy the start or buy the seeds. And then, you know, over time, it'll help you to identify them. This is echinacea, which I am like really thoroughly excited about. I actually started this echinacea, this one, and then that one all the way back there in the garden beds. I started those from seed about 2 years ago. And they've taken off like crazy, and they spread like crazy too. And the root is really deep, and it's the root you harvest for the medicinal properties. So what I'm going to start doing is that in the winter or the fall, it's just to divide these plants, take half the root, and then just leave the other half. And that's a good way to have longevity with echinacea. But it is trying to start flowering soon, which is nice. The bee balm actually looks like it might be trying to put on flowers as well. I also can dig this up at the park, because once I started growing this from seed, I began to notice that when we were taking our hikes, me and my son, this actually grows in the forest that we hike in. So good to be able to recognize that. Also very, very prone to powdery mildew. But I mean, it's either, I'm not going to fertilize or do anything. It's just going to have to get rid of that on its own, or not. But look at this. We have our first echinacea flower. And it's really weird that it started flowering in the container before it flowered in the raised garden bed. This is some type of peppermint that I don't necessarily know if I want it. It's way too strong. It's mojito mint. It's way too strong to just have in infused waters, but it might be perfect for like a mojito or a scotch. So we'll see. I'm going to try it out and see if it's worth keeping, because I have a lot of mint, and I don't necessarily know if I want to continue to baby this plant or to just have it grow. Here's some more mullein that was purchased from the local nursery, which is, you know, healthy at this point. Now here's another experiment that has reached its conclusion. So raspberries, obviously, well, apparently, the first year raspberries can be pulled up and actually stuck in some wet soil, and it will root. And I didn't know that. I know that now. But I don't know if I want to designate an entire additional section just for raspberries when I have a whole lot of it growing just randomly. So I might actually clear the raspberries out of this bucket and just plop in the catmint, because I want the catmint to actually expand. I just would need to put some protection over it. But I do want the catmint more than I actually want this space. So I might just repurpose the soil, take these out, and then just add catmint here. A couple of weeks back, I actually trimmed down the thyme, so it looks like it's starting to grow back in nicely. Kind of probably just waiting on some rain. Cut back the lemon balm completely, so it looks a little raggedy, but it will recuperate after we get some rain. And we do have our first chamomile flower. Look at that, which I will promptly take because I want it to continue to keep growing. The rosemary is continuing perfect. The sage is perfect, which I might actually dehead and dry. We do have our lemongrass. Look at our hyssop here. It's beautiful, already flowering. And this plant I did also start from seed, I think 2 years ago as well. And it is wonderful, and it is spread, and the smell is strong. It's a really, really good perennial herb to have in the garden space. This is peppermint, specifically peppermint, which I need to kind of dehead because it's gotten crazy. I mean, it's in like the grass at this point. We do have a nice weed perpetrating as lavender here. But we also have lavender, which makes a really great tea if it's mixed with lemon balm. So I don't want to get these weeds out because that doesn't taste so well. But I mean, the smell is heavenly. I actually didn't think I would like lavender in teas. I mean, you like the scent, but the taste is really, really strong. But when you mix it with lemon balm, it tastes amazing. You just, and a little bit would do. Obviously, when it's dried, it becomes more concentrated. But yeah, I mean, I want to take it now because it does really, really great in teas, and I did not know that. I was just drying it and then like storing it, but I wasn't using it. So now I use it like every night with mugwort as a sleeping tea. And then I did put this little propeller in here as well as a couple of forks. The movement of the propeller is actually supposed to like scare away the squirrels and stuff that keep digging in here. And if they manage to get past the movement of the propeller, then we have the little forks in here. And I actually put forks in a couple of the potted herbs because it actually does work. They're digging for excess space, but if you take away the space, hopefully they stop digging and uprooting my plants. Now this is the yarrow I purchased. Actually, I purchased all of my plants 2 years ago, either from seed or from the actual start. I purchased one little start from the nursery, and it is it's a colored yarrow, but it's beautiful. It's starting to head up now. And I might actually let this flower because it's beautiful when it does. Trim back this lemon balm as well. Need to trim back this peppermint, this chocolate mint, and dry some. But I don't have the space. I took so much peppermint. I took so much lemon balm. And it's drying in the house. The lemon balm's drying in the house, but I don't have the space for the peppermint. So when it finishes in about 2 to 3 weeks, because it's in a brown paper bag right now, drying in a protective space, then I'll probably come down and just chop and wash the peppermint and the chocolate mint, so that I can use those for teas as well. Because the flavors come out more with herbs when they're dried, especially when they're freshly dried. So they haven't been sitting around for longer than a couple of months. So I want to take this and dry this for tea. Now for water infusions, you're perfect to use fresh herbs, but for teas specifically, it's better to have them dried. But look at that beautiful herb garden. I'm so proud of it. I'm proud, Mommy. I also put some little lights here as well, just hoping to like keep away some of the things that kind of like claw at night. Hopefully that works. And it's also cute to see them light up at night as well. Here's some more chocolate mint, or actually some more peppermint. And look at this. Sending out a root. So what it's going to do is actually root into the ground, and then you'll see peppermint popping up everywhere. So I need to kind of get on top of that. Maybe wrap it up. Like put it in a baggie or something and propagate it since it wants to spread. And then over here, I actually, there used to be like a gate here, which in my thing was just a way to like protect. I don't know what I was doing with the gate. I think in year 1 gardening, I had some like cherry tomatoes here, which is the only thing I could grow. And I put a fence up thinking that it was going to keep out the rodents and whatever else wanted to eat the tomatoes, but it wasn't really necessary. Because I have a mulberry tree in the backyard, like the birds and the squirrels have other sources of food to eat, so they didn't really mess with my cherry tomatoes. And they typically don't unless I let them go too long. But I didn't need the fence anymore. And it was getting completely crazy to kind of try to weed through the gate because the thick grass was just actually kind of like, the thick grass was actually entwining itself in the gate. It didn't look nice. So I took out some more of my mint that was actually in the enclosure because it wasn't necessary. So my banana mint, I actually would like to use more of this because it's wonderful. But I forget I have it because it's in the enclosed garden space. I took it out. We also have our sweet marjoram here, which was actually in a shaded location, and it doesn't seem like it was doing really well with that. So hopefully I just watered this too. But hopefully bringing it out of there, it'll, fill in a little bit. And I also put a propeller here as well. If this doesn't scare them away, then I'll put in some forks. We also have some pineapple mint here and some toasty. And can we just appreciate how healthy this toasty is? Like part of this I'm actually going to stop breaking off of so I can save some seed. But I have killed toasty every year. And it has never looked this healthy before dying. So like, I am glad that I realized that toasty actually grows better for me in a container, because we will always grow it that way. And then look at this. It is now starting to trellis all the way up. And these are I don't even know what beans I planted. I don't know. I'll leave the name below, but it is healthy. And I think it's healthiest over here. Look at that. I think we have a flower coming in. I think it's healthier over here because it gets direct sunlight, like all throughout the day. Whereas over here, it's in partial shade after 12 or 1. And so I think this bed is a little more affected. Yeah, it's just not as full. But I do still get like harvest from this one. So we'll see how healthy it is. A little watering station for the birds. And I did cut out that little cutting there that was there. Like I thought it might be a secondary persimmon plant growing, but I didn't know persimmons to actually grow to spread out that way. Like, you know, vining plants like elderberry and raspberry and blackberry may. But I didn't know actual fruit trees do that. So someone actually mentioned in the comments that the little plant that was here might actually have been something like this might actually have been grafted onto rootstock, and it was the rootstock that was actually sprouting, and that's not a good thing. So I just cut that out. Don't know whether or not that's the truth, but it sounded right. So I just cut that out so it cannot maybe take nutrients from the main plant. Look at this, full of ants in here. There's a nest somewhere. Not super concerned about that though. Ants actually help to aerate the soil. And so as long as they're not farming aphids, I'm perfectly content with them staying where they are. But look at this, just checking on the fruit. I'm gonna have to get some fruit bags or some type of insect netting, like bags to put over the fruit when they grow a little bit more. But look at that. I'm just so happy. All of this fruit. And I did tie it up to make sure that the branches don't break. Because apparently from some of the videos I've been reading about about persimmons, the limbs are kind of flimsy to house as much fruit as this plant is housing. So I did some research on what's going on with my blueberry plant. It could be a nitrogen deficiency, and the reason why I don't want to fertilize with anything really heavy in nitrogen is because it does affect the berry production when you do that. I also read that it could be a pH balance issue as well, and that typically tends to happen with berries, so I'm thinking that's probably what it is that this is a new garden bed, and it was in a 5-gallon bucket for 2 years prior to me putting it in here. It might just, and this is clay soil directly at the bottom of this, and it's kind of compost the soil at the top. I'm thinking that I just need to correct the pH balance with this plant. And the way to do that is coffee grounds. You can also buy sulfur. Epsom salt actually would help this as well. And so I'm trying to keep it natural without having to buy a bunch of products. So coffee grinds, tea bags, used tea bags. I'll even do some comfrey tea to see if that helps as well, and some 511 will give the color back to this plant. But we do have some ripe blueberries, and I told my son I was going to wait until he gets up from his nap so that we can eat them. And they are delicious. We probably would have way more if I took better care of these plants. But I'm going to definitely do that. So I am going to fertilize these plants. Add some coffee grounds, tea grounds, some composted soil from the compost bin, and just see if over the next couple of weeks that actually helps. But look at that. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys have taken advantage of this cold weather coming through. If you guys have colder weather and have done a little bit of garden prep, I actually pinned some of the tomatoes up, which I've already showed you guys, but it's just really good weather to get some things in order, because the heat will be coming officially in the next 3 to 4 days, and then it will probably make coming to the garden to do anything unbearable after 11 o'clock. So any case, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.